Oh, thank you. Are we live?
We're live.
Oh, we are? I didn't know. I had to exit out because my thing was red. So, let me know. Are we doing the countdown? Ew. Oh, I'm hot. Oh, so I guess we're live. Hi, everybody. Hey, everybody. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of Wednesday Night Kiki. I'm your boy, Chris Avalon. And yes, for the next hour and some change, I'm going to be talking about all the entertainment news that just came out in the past couple of days. I also have a podcast called The Chris Avalon Show, which you can definitely check out on all the online streaming services. What is it? Apple Music, iTunes, iHeartRadio. It's all up in there. So definitely check it out when you get a chance. We have a lot of stuff to talk about. I want to talk about a lot of entertainment news, stuff that's going on, including we're going to talk about Jussie Smollett and them pictures from the set of B-Boy Blues. I got a list of people, even though they already kind of sort of revealed, and I'm guessing they revealed who is going to be a part of the movie playing the characters, Mitchell and Raheem. But I have my dream team list of people who I thought would have probably been a good choice if it came out 20 years ago till today. So I have that. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. I am going to be bringing in EJP, who, he does the DTA podcast. He also does Host Hat Live. He's going to be coming in, chiming in every now and again. I don't think he's going to come in for the following segment, but right now what I want to do is I want to get to a lightning round of topics that I want to just get out before we get to the meat and potatoes, which is going to be the bigger topics. Cardi B suspending her Twitter account. I got some stuff on 50 Cent endorsing the president. Well, the acting president, because he ain't no damn president to me. One of Lauryn Hill's daughters is accusing Rihanna of thievery. So we're going to talk about that. Aubrey O'Day is going in on Diddy. Jennifer Lopez calling herself a black girl from the Bronx. There's some controversy around that. We're going to talk about that. And I guess we'll get into the whole Latinx community and colorism and racism and that sort of thing. So we have a whole lot to get to. Plus, I'm going to get to my review of Drag Race. Not Drag Race, but Dragula Resurrection, and the little Halloween special that came out on Shudder yesterday. But first, let's get to this news that just came out. So apparently Fast and the Furious is finally coming to an end. So there's going to be about 2 more movies coming out after 9 comes out, and they still got that May release that's coming out in of next year. Lord willing, we have, there's some situation that COVID, we can get that under wraps. The movie theaters start opening up again. They still have that May release. Yeah, so according to reports, Variety, they're saying that Fast and the Furious 11 is going to be the last in the franchise. So it says the central Fast and Furious franchise will come to a conclusion after the 10th and 11th films, is according to Variety. Justin Lin, who directed the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 9th Fast and the Furious films, will return to direct the final 2 installments and drive the franchise to the finish line after over 2 decades in theaters. I cannot believe that damn franchise has been around for 20 years. But yes, it has been. Now, I kind of figured this part out, but it says, this does not, however, necessarily mean that the Fast and the Furious cinematic universe is coming to an end, while the core storyline following Vin Diesel's Dominic Toretto and his family of fellow car enthusiasts turned thieves turned physics-defying superheroes will conclude after Lin directs the 11th installment. Spin-off movies based on Fast and the Furious characters are currently in development at Universal. So, while I do believe that Fast and the Furious, this particular franchise will come to an end after the 11th film. I kind of figured they were going to do more spin-offs. I would like to be quite frankly, here's my dream team of what I would love to see in regards to this franchise. I would love to see Letty, played by my girl Michelle Rodriguez, and maybe Dom's sister, Mia, who I've seen from the trailer the commercial of Fast 9 when that first came out before COVID and all this other stuff, and they had to change, when it was supposed to come out. I want to see when we see Mia kicking ass more in the trailer. So they're doing more kind of bones breaking, brass knuckles type fight sequences. I want to see an all female led with Letty leading the team, possibly. I want to see an all female Fast and the Furious film. I would love to see more Hobbs and Shaw. I kind of enjoyed it, even though it was a bit good in some parts, not so good in some parts. I would like to see more of Hobbs and Shaw. I want to see what they do with that franchise. The franchise has kind of teetered off a bit for me in some of the stunt work and stuff. I mean, even though it's cool, it's like, come on now, y'all are not superheroes. I don't know how Vin Diesel jumps mid-air to grab Letty, and then his back hits a car, and he gets up like nothing is wrong with his body. I didn't particularly like Fate of the Furious. It had some good parts. There was some eye-rolling, sucking of the teeth in some of the stunt work that I saw in that movie. It was just like, okay, come on now. Nobody in this movie is a goddamn superhero. I am glad Han's coming back in the 9th one. So Justin Lin, in my opinion, Justin Lin, not Justin Lint, but Justin Lin, in my opinion, has kind of gotten this franchise on the right track, even though I did not like Tokyo Drift. Part 4 showed promise, and I like when they brought Vin Diesel back and it got better. But the 5th one, the 6th one, and the 7th one, those are my 3. That's like the trifecta of like the best in the franchise. And yeah, I felt like Dwayne Johnson definitely helped get this film back on the map, or kind of give it some gravitas, which is probably why Vin Diesel was mad at him, because y'all brought Dwayne Johnson in and he pretty much kind of almost stole your franchise and wound up getting a spinoff out of it. But look, I think the reason why this is coming to an end is probably because it's becoming too expensive to support these actors. When you have someone like Vin Diesel, this is his franchise. He can come in and pretty much be a consultant after this whole thing is over and get a fee for that. But the more you return for these franchises as an actor, you got to pay these people extra money, so they get like they get more money on top of it, so they can always negotiate more money. And I'm sure that even though this is a $1 billion franchise, Universal wants to keep some of that money, so that they can profit more from the film. So I think the actors, they don't want to pay them that money anymore. So you can spin off more franchises, bring new blood in, keep the franchise going, but pay them significantly less. So with that being said, I'm excited. I'm excited to see where they end this whole franchise. I believe 10 and 11 is going to be a 2-parter. I'm looking forward to seeing part 9 and you got John Cena playing Dom and Mia's brother, where he's pretty much a bad guy, and I think he's working with Charlize Theron. So I'm just really curious to see where this all ends. Hopefully, the upcoming film with him as the brother, hopefully it'll be, a trilogy of sorts. So with that being said, I'm excited. If you guys are excited, let me know what you guys think. You can leave your comments, all that good stuff. For those of you that are streaming or watching the live stream via YouTube and Periscope and Twitter and Facebook and all those different things. Let me know what you guys think of this. I like the franchise, even though it's crazy. It's mindless entertainment. So I take it for what it is. So moving right along, I want to talk about Candyman. So Candyman, I'm not going to say it 5 times because I like to keep my spine in my back and not get gutted with a hook. So, I am very superstitious about the movie. Like Bloody Mary, fuck that bitch. But Candyman, okay, that's 3 times. That franchise scared the bejesus out of me. I'm not going to say it again, but you know who. I'm going to refer to him like Whoopi refers to the fat orange one in the White House. So we're going to say, you know who finally has a release date. So, this movie has been shuffled around so many damn times. It's now going to come out on August 27th, 2021, Lord willing. Movie theaters are open around that time. So Jordan Peele, who wrote Candyman, and I had no idea he wrote. I thought he was a producer. And it was directed by Nia DaCosta. Like many films slated for this year, the movie, which I will not name, had to postpone its debut numerous times during the coronavirus pandemic. And Nia said on Twitter, we made Candyman to be seen in theaters, not just for the spectacle, but for the film. We made Candyman to be seen in theaters, not just for the spectacle, but because the film is about community and stories, how they shape each other, how they shape us. It's about the collective experience of trauma and joy, suffering and triumph, and the stories we tell around it. Now, they're saying that this movie is being described as a spiritual sequel to the 1992 slasher film. I also believe that Tony Todd, who played the original character, is going to be in the movie in some sort of way. So I'm excited. I'm a fan of the original film with Virginia Madsen and Tony Todd and the whole Cabrini Green projects. That's the last time you saw those projects in any kind of form before they were taken down, because I heard that was like a real violent part of Chicago, and those projects was just a whole mess over there. So those projects are no longer around, and it'll be interesting to see what this film is going to be about and some of the social commentary that's going to be surrounded by it. So I'm definitely excited to see this film when it comes out next year. Lord willing, we have, it's safe enough for us to go into a theater and actually watch a movie, because it's been a long time since I've seen a movie. The last movie I saw in a theater was, oh my God, I was just talking like Bloodshot, and that movie was god awful. I didn't pay for it. I have friends who work at AMC, so I got to see it for free. But if I had to pay for that film, I'd ask for a refund. Okay, so, Yahya Abdul-Mateen, who's very busy, by the way, is going to be in Candyman. He's currently filming The Matrix 4, and he's got a bunch of other movies that he has coming out that I'm really excited about. And his career is definitely on the rise. I definitely loved him in Watchmen, and congratulations to him for winning the Emmy and all that good stuff. But yeah, I'm excited for Candyman when it comes out in 2021. So yeah. Okay, so another classic franchise of sorts that's getting a reboot. And yeah, if you look at Candyman, it is a franchise, because I believe there were a bunch of sequels. I think it was like 3 movies that they made. Farewell to the Flesh, and there was another one that they made, which weren't good. But similar to my sequels and franchises, Entertainment One, who, if I'm not mistaken, Brandy is a part of E1. They're bringing back Hasbro's Power Rangers brand for film and television adaptation. So now what's happening is, with Power Rangers, they're trying to develop, they're trying to do more of like the Kevin Feige MCU shared universe type thing. So they want to tie in movies and TV and things of that nature. And I'm going to let you know if I think this is a good idea. So they said the company has tapped Jonathan Entwistle, creator of the Netflix series I Am Not Okay With This and It's the End of the Effing World, to shepherd the project. They said E1 will develop and produce the projects with Entwistle next to direct across both formats. So they're saying that Jonathan has an incredible creative vision for this iconic and hugely successful franchise, and is hands down the right architect to join us as we reimagine the television and film worlds of this property. This is what E1 executives Nick Meyer and Michael Lombardo had to say. They said, across our slate, we are looking forward to working with the most talented storytellers as we take on Hasbro's rich fan favorite brands and build entertainment universes around them. Now, I did hear that this new Power Rangers reboot is going to take place in the 90s. Number one, I don't think that's a good idea. For the simple fact, if you're trying to reach a younger audience, which I'm guessing they're trying to do, they don't care about the 90s. They don't know nothing about the 90s and are interested in anything 90s based. Number two, I will admit, I liked the last Power Rangers movie that came out. Did I see it in the theater? I actually worked at AMC at the time that it came out, but I don't think I ever, oh wait, that's a lie. I actually did sit in the theater and watch it. I think it was like it was before I had to start a shift or I was done with the shift or something or another. And I actually sat and watched it. I actually liked it. I enjoyed Power Rangers. I thought it was a really good movie. There were some things about it that I didn't particularly care for. I mean, Dacre Montgomery, I thought was a great Red Ranger. And when I was younger, I had a huge crush on Austin St. John, who, of course, was the Red Ranger. I liked how the cast was very diverse. They had a diverse cast of characters that were in there. So it wasn't just like, well, there kind of was with the original show, too. You had the Asian, you had the Blue Ranger, who turned out to be gay, as we found out later on. And, you had the black guy who was a part of the Power Rangers. But I feel like what they're trying to do with the franchise, I think this is a franchise that people just don't care about. Like, I grew up with Power Rangers, so I loved it when I was a kid, and I have nostalgia for it, but I don't think it's a franchise that you could basically just take and be like, you know what? We can create shared universes and build all this other stuff as a part of this thing, and it'd be interesting. I don't think people are interested in the same way as, like, you could take not Power Rangers, you could take Transformers, because it's about aliens who can transform from vehicles like cars and trucks and things that we all use in our daily lives into an actual fighting machine. Like, that's a great concept. You can do so many things with that. Same thing with G.I. Joe. Like, you can take that concept and you can do whatever you will with it and make it interesting for a whole demographic. He-Man, if they took more of a Lord of the Rings approach, I think you can take that and develop that into something really cool and mystical and action-oriented, kind of have a Conan the Barbarian meets Lord of the Rings concept and do that. So there's so many different franchises that I grew up with as a kid, and you can develop that into something really interesting. Power Rangers, I feel like it's a franchise that has pretty much past its expiration date. So I really feel like E1, y'all are wasting your money. You're wasting your time. I liked Power Rangers when I was a kid, and it's kind of a cheesy series. I don't see how you can make this work. And they tried to do the whole shared universe, 7 franchises on top of one movie with the Power Rangers that came out a couple of years ago, and it flopped. So I don't think this is a great idea for them to do. I mean, if they're going to go along with it and they're going to keep it going, but I just don't see this franchise as something that is going to definitely get butts in a theater. So I just feel like you guys are wasting your time. Now, is this the last topic? Oh wait, no, we have 2 more off the cuff topics that I want to get to that are movie based and TV based that I'm really excited about. I heard this one today. So Jamie Foxx, has had success pretty much with Netflix, and his career is like popping after he disappeared for years. Like, he had Project Power that was on Netflix that I thought was a great concept, but the movie's execution was kind of like, meh. I expected more. Like, I like the concept of people taking a pill and developing temporary superpowers, and depends on what pill you take, it either helps you or you burst into flames or whatever the case is. So I like the whole concept of what it was, but I just feel like the execution didn't really go all the way there for me to feel satisfied and want to see this movie numerous times as I would want to see The Old Guard with Charlize Theron. Like, that's a movie I could watch multiple times. Extraction with Chris Hemsworth I could watch a couple of times. But this upcoming film that Jamie Foxx has signed on for, I feel like has the potential of being a really good franchise, depending on the team of people that are going to be a part of it. And from what I heard, since 8711 and Chad Stahelski is going to be a part of this, I could definitely see this as a franchise I can definitely get behind. So Jamie Foxx is about to star in a movie called, Day Shift, where he will play a vampire hunter. Excuse me. And it's going to be directed by first-time feature director J.J. Perry. So John Wick franchise director Chad Stahelski and Jason Spitz are producing for 8711 Entertainment, along with Sean Reddick, who was behind Black Klansman, and Yvette Yates Reddick, who was behind Malicious, for Impossible Dream Entertainment. So Fox, who also serves as an executive producer, will star as a hardworking blue-collar dad who just wants to provide a good life for his quick-witted 8-year-old daughter, but his mundane San Fernando Valley pool cleaning job is a front for his real source of income, which is he's basically Blade, child. So he's hunting and killing vampires. So I think this is a really cool idea. Tyler Tice penned the original script, which was discovered by the Impossible Dream team when Tice won the Slam Dance Writing Competition Grand Prize. The current revisions are by Shay Haddon, the screenwriter behind John Wick Chapter 3 and the upcoming John Wick Chapter 4, as well as Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead for Netflix. So J.J. Perry, who will be directing, he's actually, his career before this, he was a second unit director and stunt coordinator. His credits include Fast and Furious 9, The Fate of the Furious, which is why I said that earlier when I was talking about Fast 9, when you saw some of that bone-crushing, like those bare bones fight style that I saw, but I was like, okay, this is giving me John Wick type vibes when I was watching a lot of it. So clearly, you know what, even though y'all never give Keanu Reeves his flowers, he has been very influential in how we absorb cinema and film and action and stuff, like with The Matrix, Bullet Time, all that. Even though, let's be clear, Bullet Time was in Blade long before The Matrix came out. So there were little things in there. People don't give that movie enough credit, in my opinion. Blade, I'm talking about. Because Blade also is the film that I feel started the whole cinematic, superhero genre. Y'all want to give it to X-Men and all that other shit. But no, Blade was the one that kickstarted this whole thing. X-Men took it to another level and made Hollywood a lot of money. And then that snowballed everything. So if it wasn't for Blade, there would be no X-Men. There would be no, what's the other one? Oh my God, how did I forget? The one with Ryan Reynolds. Not Daredevil. Why am I forgetting superhero names? It's like my mind just went blank. But yeah, so it'll come to me. I don't know how. It just like I just had a brain fart. But yes, Deadpool. Thank you. It came. It always happens. So yeah, there would be no Deadpool. There would be none of these other superhero films. So I always try to give Blade the credit that it deserves. But I think this would be a great idea because I even had this idea of like, what if there was I would like to see a vampire hunting movie, but kind of like in that whole John Wick fighting style. So, or John Wick, or maybe the Raid type of a fighting style. So maybe we'll get a lot of that in this film. It does sound like a really cool concept. And I'm definitely will check this out whenever it happens. So that's all I got to say on that. And last but certainly not least, before we get to our main topics, because yes, I just want to get this film stuff out really quick. Willow is getting itself a sequel/series, which is, well, it's going to be a series, but a sequel to the original film. And this is coming to Disney Plus. So Disney Plus, is funny how y'all are developing all these programs, but the only thing they still have over there is The Mandalorian, which I think comes on next week, if I'm not mistaken. So it says Disney Plus has confirmed the sequel series taking place years after the events of the original Ron Howard directed pick is heading into production next year. Howard is returning to the project as an executive producer alongside original star Warwick Davis, who will once again play the titular hero Willow Ufgood. So the series has also tapped Crazy Rich Asians and In the Heights director John M. Chu to helm the pilot and executive produce. Jonathan Kasdan, who was behind Solo, and Wendy Merciel, who was behind the series Arrow, will serve as showrunners. Willow, as it says, the series hails from Lucasfilm and represents the company's first non-Star Wars venture since 2015. The show will introduce all new characters to the magical realm of fairy queens and two-headed Eborsisk monsters. News of the official green light from Disney Plus comes over a year after the project was first reported as coming down the pipeline. So I remember when I was a little kid and I saw Willow in a theater. You know, I lived for my daikinis. And there was like, what's his name was in there? Val Kilmer. That's where he met Joanne Whalley and they got married. They're since no longer together. They haven't been together in a long time. But, you know, that I just felt like that's where they met and fell in love. And I just love that movie. Even though it bombed at the box office, it is like so many other films like Hocus Pocus and so many other films. It is a cult classic and people absolutely love it. And I'm excited. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Willow when it comes to Disney Plus. First of all, I would love for Disney Plus to get it together and hurry up and start releases. I know COVID and everything is going on, but y'all need to give me something else besides Mandalorian. I don't care about none of them movies y'all been putting on there. I don't care about Mulan. I don't care about none of that stuff. I want some real content on Disney Plus, please, because I've been paying for y'all since y'all inception, and I haven't even visited Disney Plus in a while. So get it together, please and thank you. Now, without further ado, so we get to these big topics, including some stuff that we're going to talk about with Cardi B and 50 Cent and so many others. I want to bring in EJP, my little cohort, and we're going to start talking about some of these main topics because I know he's got a lot to say and I got a lot to say, and let's get down to the nitty-gritty. So come on. Oh, wait, let me get a sip of this drink. I don't know why, but that whole MTV, I mean, that was giving me MTV vibes with the whole countdown situation. But yes. Here.
I'm here, honey.
Oh my God, wait. Split screen. I was like, wait a minute. Did you hear about the whole Giuliani situation with him and Borat? I cannot wait to see this movie, by the way.
Yeah, I can't wait either. Let me fix my light over here for me. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Split screen, yes.
So what is the tea? Let me put on my hat.
Yeah, I did my my little movie news and stuff thrown in and stuff. I was trying to do it real fast. I was like, how was it?
Yeah. So I don't know where to begin. Like you kind of had a lot going on there in the beginning, and now we got to get to the serious stuff. I guess the meat and potatoes.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about
what's up, everyone?
like what's going on in Hollywood and all the latest movie news and developments and stuff that was going on before we get to the gossip and all that other stuff. So we can start out by saying, well, how have you been, by the way, and how's life been treating you?
I've been good. You know, life has been. I mean, well, you know, we're all voting, so I've been just patient and just trying to breathe a bit. You know, coming down to the wire. But the news have been flowing. We've been texting each other, and so much has been happening. And so we had to come back this week and do a show last week.
My anxiety is a bit on, from a scale of 1 to 10, it's on 25 because I can't do another 4 years with this clown. So, Lord willing,
me neither.
We can get him out of there and then lock his ass up.
You guys are voting.
Y'all keep talking about lock Hillary up. No, you need to lock his fat ass up. But yes, people, please vote. Your vote counts. Your votes count. Your votes
yeah.
count. Your votes. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. Your votes count. And fuck Facebook. Yeah. So without further ado, definitely check out EJP on DTA Podcast as well as Host Chat Live every Saturday. Well, Host Chat Live comes on Saturdays. DTA Podcast is on Sundays. Every other Sunday, every Sunday. Sometimes you got to listen out when you're listening to Host Chat Live when those new episodes come up when it will come up and all that good stuff. But anyway, so yeah, let's get to the first topic because this was going to be something. Wait, I think the story came out last week, but I was like, I'll save it for my radio show, which I did. But then I wound up going over to. Well, yeah, I talked a little bit about it on my show, but then also it is a bit of a follow-up today, which is Cardi B deleted her Twitter account, or did she suspend it? Because I don't know if you could literally, you could delete something, but they're always like, are you sure? We'll keep it around for like 30 days in case you decide to sign back in again. So no one's ever truly gone. So the 28-year-old, well, she just turned 28, by the way. She took to Instagram where her account, which has over 77 million followers, of course, it's still around because she needs it, and went on this past Saturday to explain her decision to leave Twitter. Primarily, she said in her rant on IG at critiques of her recent reunion with rapper Offset, who she filed for divorce from last month, and generally with being told what's best for her. So we have a clip, correct, of her rambling about some bullshit in regards of justifying why she decided to get back with the very man that just weeks prior she was talking about she's tired of arguing, she's tired of fighting, and he doesn't value her. And then she goes and takes back the same fool that continues to treat you like the shit under his shoe. But without further ado, let's roll that clip.
Twitter users be like, Cardi, you're in a mentally abusive relationship. Oh my gosh, we gotta save you. And I be like, all right, but can I fuck him today because I need to have sex? And niggas in my DMs talking about what up, big head. I don't like that. I'm 28 years old. And my head's not big. Actually, it is, but not with a lace front. The fuck?
The hell is she talking about? I don't know. So the reason why she got back with him because she missed dick. Heard on that. Shaking my head. I don't know what to say in regards of her and this whole thing. Like, you post your personal business on social media for attention, but then you go back to the same fool that you was talking so much shit about, and you're mad because your fans are roasting you for going back to the same man that treated you like crap. Like, make it make sense. I just feel like, what kind of example is this setting for your daughter? Number one. And number two, like I remember I said this last week, it's like, how can you, what can you teach your own child when the little girl in you is broken? So she's a broken mess on the inside. I don't know where she learned this behavior, but this is clearly a learned behavior on the type of men you attract in your life. Clearly comes from a place of what you were missing in your personal, like from maybe your father or whatever the case is. I don't know what it is, but it's just, if you don't want people critiquing or making comments about your relationship, stop posting your personal business on social media. That's all. Stop telling people your business, and people will stop making comments. People will stop responding. Keep your shit to yourself. Like I said on my podcast, we don't know who Janet Jackson's fucking. We don't know who any of these like many high profile celebrities are messing around because they keep their business to themselves. But Cardi got to post every goddamn aspect of her personal life. So I'm like, you want to know something? Mona Scott, if you're watching, call this bitch up and give her a gig back on Love and Hip Hop, because clearly she misses it. She misses being on reality TV. She misses being on Love and Hip Hop. She wants to be on there and exploit this relationship, because what else is Offset going for him? So, and this is the picture of the whole birthday party. And because this man bought her a car and a $5,000 car seat for Culture, she's like, well, what am I supposed to do? First of all, if y'all are married, and like I said before in my podcast, if you guys are married, did he use his own money to buy this car? Or he used the both of y'all money? Because if y'all are in a relationship together and married, I'm sure y'all are sharing the same account. Unless y'all don't have conversations about that. Because I know, like, if you're in a partnership, there's such thing as having a joint account and then having your own nephew side money. I mean, if you're smart. But I just think when it comes to relationship, she's less than smart. And I don't get, like, if you feel, I don't know, what do you have to say about this? Because I could just go on a whole tangent about her being a donkey.
Well, first of all, we have the clip here of what happened at the birthday party when he decided to, I guess, manipulate her with more money love. Jasmine
and they had the nerve to call it Black Love. Shout out to the Jasmine brand.
Hey. So, I mean, that's the gist of it right there. I don't need to go any further, do I?
No, and to me, it just feels like, were you doing it because you two generally love each other and you want to make the relationship work? Or was that all a ruse because you were being encouraged and egged on by the people who were at the party? So now we have to put on this extra. It's kind of like, to me, when you want to propose to someone that you've been in a relationship with for a long time, and I may not be ready to get married, but because you decide to pull together a full-on flash mob, now I can't be disrespectful or be a dick and say, I'm not ready to get married. So yes, let's get married. And then I'm all in. And then by the time I get to the altar, I become the runaway bride. Shout out to Julia Roberts for that movie. But yeah, it's like it just gets to that point. And to me, it's like, unless he's willing to take the steps and you willing to take the steps, go see a therapist, figure out what is the root of the issue that you have with your relationship and try to get beyond that, then the relationship is fully based on materialistic things. And my thing is this: Cardi has money. I'm sure way more money than him because of her status in the industry. Like, she is the biggest star. She may not be the most talented rapper, but the major industry overall loves Cardi because of, how outspoken she is and how funny she is on social media. So she is a walking brand. Like, you can do a lot with her. It ain't even about the music. She makes money doing other stuff. The music is just a bonus. So with her, it's like you could do so much with her, but it's sort of like, why are y'all even together? Like, okay, I get it. You say you need some dick. Is he the only penis that exists in the United States of America? Like, is that the only dick you know? Like, bitch? I'm sure how many men would love to get up and make them cheeks clap. I'm sure there's plenty of men out here that would love to make them cheeks clap.
Like
and
you said, they were calling her
injected, by the way, because that ass ain't natural.
She said they were calling her big head, and she wasn't feeling it. So no.
Oh, so she's sensitive all of a sudden. Before, you don't give a damn, but now she's sensitive. So I don't know. look,
But I do want to say shout out to all the fashions at Cardi event. And yeah, shout out to check the tag for this one here. Cardi with her birthday outfit right here. And she's wearing Lena Barisha. And this is her celebrating in Las Vegas, Cardi B right there. But that is the designer, Lena Barisha. Shout out to check the tag on Insta. She was styled by Colin Carter. So there you go. And then we also have, we have more fashions from here. We also have Cardi in her other dress here. We're going to try to pull this one up right here. This Cardi in the other dress she wore for her, I guess, on the weekend of partying. This is our designer by the name of I Am Gia. This is Cardi out in Atlanta with that poppin' red outfit. I like it. It's like a sorbet type tee. I really, really, really do like Cardi. She picks right fashion choices. Say what you want about her. This is why, like, way more relevant. Okay, Cardi. Yeah, and then lastly, I believe we have Kylie Jenner at Cardi's birthday party. Shout out to check the tag. She's wearing Versace fall winter 19.
Wait, she's wearing who? She's wearing who? She's wearing Versace.
Versace.
Not wearing
the minute you said it, I
was she's wearing Versace. But yeah, yeah, those are some cute outfits or whatever. But yeah, I definitely think that Cardi is a fashion girl. She's definitely got, she is it right now. And I just feel like she's allowing this BS to distract her from way more important things. And girl, if you that horny, get yourself a goddamn toy. I'm sure you could call up Candy Burris and she can give you a whole line of bedroom candy to get that, to get your little area a little satisfied. Because I'm sure, because now I'm looking at it as like, okay, so you just all about community dick now. Because that's basically what Offset is. Offset is basically nothing more than community dick. And that's what you're settling for. So, honey, I know you love to give back to the community, but that ain't the community you need to be giving back to.
So, I mean, but that's her baby daddy, so I can understand.
And I'm sure it was a little strategic with him putting that baby in her too.
Right. I mean, I can also understand where, like, the love between them two, but that's her baby daddy. I'd rather her stick with him than go to someone else. I think it would be more messy if she was just immediately with someone else or caught cheating. But I don't know. I mean, I listen, you said it greatly on your show last weekend. You were saying about like that she's just someone who she's hood. Like, she's hood. Cardi's hood, and that's what we're gonna get. We're not gonna, she's not gonna change. She's not like these Disney stars that change overnight or whatever. Like, this is who she is. This is who's gonna stay, and we either accept her or keep this back and forth, But what she said to her fans the other day, like, that was a lot. I wasn't expecting that, but I understand it. I mean, if she's getting death threats, she got to do what she got to do for her family.
Well, I do think it's ridiculous that people are so upset with her over going back with Offset that y'all are just doing death threats. I'm like, okay, now y'all need to get your damn life. I could understand that you upset over the fact that she decided, because it kind of gives me that whole situation of like, you're the fans are the best friend that Cardi confides in whenever her man pisses her off and does her wrong. And I'm like, yeah, that nigga ain't no good and this, that, and the other. Like, you sit there just riding with her and agreeing because like, well, bitch, I been knew that your man was a bum.
Right.
But overall, if that's what she wants, but then when a week later you get back with him, now I'm like, well, damn, now I said all that shit. Now you making me feel like I'm an idiot and I feel stupid giving that, because now I'm like, now you're gonna look at me so I'm like, well, I'm not gonna tell you no, because now you throwing shade at my man, and I'm like, but I agree with Sailor Maid. What is that? Oh, Sailor Mermaid X or Mermaid X. Sorry. I will just call you Sailor Mermaid because I'm like trying to read his name. Shout out to you who was watching over on YouTube Live. Said honestly, they love each other. If she wants to low value men, then so be it. Agreed. Like I'm with that. Like if you want to
shout out to you.
Lower your standard when I feel like, well, here's the thing. Having a lot of money doesn't make you doesn't raise your self-esteem. It's all
Right.
about, you know, see a therapist, figure out what is the issue and why you pull certain people. You know where I learned this from? Well, I've been knew this from just life stuff. But when I'm listening, well, you know, I'm listening to Mariah Carey's memoir and her coming to the determination of the toxicity of her family, being her mother, who bitch, and this is, you know what, I feel like I'm gonna bring this up when I talk about racism and things like that. Her mother using her whiteness signal to those white police officers when she had Mariah arrested when she was having a little breakdown at the house. There was this, like, to me it was like that I don't know, it's just see a therapist. Let's just wrap this up. Like, yeah, see a therapist, figure out what the root of the situation is, and try to work on the relationship. And if he's not willing to meet you halfway, then you want to know something? It's the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. So, Cardi, keep doing you, keep being hood. And if you're not willing to, if you don't want people up in your business, stop spreading it on social media. That's all.
Okay.
So, next topic I want to get to is 50 Cent back in that fat orange fucking White House. So, on Tuesday, he confirmed that he's backing the president for re-election, saying he could become 20 cent under Democrat Joe Biden's plan for higher taxes. He says, yeah, I don't want to be 20 cent. Well, I refer to you as loose change, but that's a whole nother conversation. 62% is a very, very bad idea. I don't like it. The Queen Ray's rapper born Curtis James Jackson III wrote on Twitter. His latest tweet featured a clip from Fox News with Trump campaign advisor Katrina Pearson quoted making the joke about changing his name. The PIMP singer's unexpected endorsement of the Republican incumbent comes 2 weeks before the November 3rd election as Trump tries to broaden his support amongst Black voters, especially by highlighting Biden's role writing 80s and 90s legislation that contributed to the mass incarceration of minorities. Well, if you really want to talk politics, Bill Clinton was behind that too. But, you know, the whole 3 strikes and you're out law and all that other stuff. So, and last time I checked, it wasn't just Biden who signed that. Y'all need to look at some of your little Black leaders who are behind it as well, and a lot of your Black church pastors who agreed to that same bill. So if you want to go in on Biden, you need to look at all Black people that also joined in unison and agreed with that because it fattened their pockets as well. So y'all be thinking just because there's a big person with the name on it, that he is the end all be all of it all, but it takes a bunch of other people to make that one situation what it is. So, you know, you and I are very passionate when it comes to politics, and I always talk about when politics and entertainment news collide. What do you think about this whole thing with loose change? First of all, we had him, and then we had Coon Cube jumping in on the whole situation about what was it about? You know, the whole, what was it that the platinum plan and that sort of situation, which I heard the Congressional Black Caucus came out and said that they had a plan similar to what Ice Cube's plan was, but the Cheeto in chief didn't want to meet with them. So, like I said before, he doesn't care about anything to do with politics or any of that, you know, anything in that situation. All he cares about is having some kind of celebrity endorsement. If he was really interested in wanting to do better for the Black community, he would meet with a lot of those Black leaders who are in the community that are out here doing the actual work and not wanting to align himself with a Kanye and an Ice Cube and a 50 Cent and all these other, oh Lord, I love this picture. All these, this picture is funny. But yes, if you were interested in trying to elevate the community, you would do so much to meet with those actual people who are in the trenches doing the work and not someone because they're a big famous name and they're going to get you trending on social media, which is what I think the president is interested in doing.
Right. Yeah, I agree. You know, this is something that, you know, I try not to like really allow myself to get so, you know, wrapped up in it because, this is something that if you listen to the host chat live, it's something that I'm very, passionate about. But this is our reality. This is the reality that we're living in, that there are a lot of people who put taxes over everything, and 50 Cent, he's a big troll,
Mm-hmm.
I
He's always trolling people. He always he's always negative towards black women. Last time I checked, his brother was one.
Thank you.
He also is against people within the LGBTQ community when his mother was a lesbian. And word on the street is, I know from very reliable sources, that 50 has an affinity for male prostitutes. And I do agree with Sailor Mermaid, where you were saying, a lot of these black men are in it for themselves. And to me, I think the root of the whole situation was something I was watching. I think it was Hot 97. They were talking about this, where black men align themselves with these people like these Trumps and stuff. And I've always said this. And Ebro said something that hit the nail on the head. And he basically said, you validate yourself on white male standards. And to me, it's sort of like, that's what I feel like these people like the 50 Cents and the Kanye's, and I think we've had this conversation numerous times when we talk about Kanye. They think because if they have the money and they align themselves with the Trumps, with all these rich, the Elon Musks and all these rich names that they love to drop, these white men, that they'll get invited into the room and they get to be a part of the situation. Oh, I get to be treated the same as no. That's not how they look at you. They're still looking at you as the N-word. I can't say it on YouTube because I'm not trying to get us cut off. Any other place I'd be unfiltered with the mouth. But I know, on YouTube, y'all are real funny when it comes to certain words. So they look at you as the help. You was kind, you was smart, you was important. Not as important, but you was important. I just had to use that line. Shout out to Viola Davis. So they're looking at you as you are the help. You're the person that's going to carry their golf clubs. They're not looking at you as a real contender or person. You're someone who has money that they can use to, get whatever they need to get out of you. You are not an equal. You're not an equal. So these black people, these black men, these Latin men, with the whole thing with them, and I can't believe that when I'm watching certain shows and then talking about the Latino male community looks at Trump as this thing because he's dancing. Oh, if you want to call it dancing, I mean the top part of him, he's like, what is that? Like one of those little weeble wobbles. The bottom is heavy, but the top is like, that was him dancing, the Macho Man. Like, what is that? That's that typical white male no rhythm dance. Like the legs are stuck to the floor, but your body moves like this. So you're dancing to a Village People song, and they look at that as machismo. Like, am I living in the Twilight Zone? I just don't know anymore. It just can't get any worse.
No, you are living in the Twilight Zone. I hate to break it to you, Bonnie, but this is what it is. I mean, this is what it is. And shout out to Sailor Mermaid. This is it. I'm not surprised either. Like, black men are showing their true colors, black men of wealth. And I had this conversation with my brother, and it's frustrating. Shout out to black women who's been holding us down. Like that. That's all I can say. But also I can say,
go ahead.
No, go ahead. I don't.
No, because I was going to say, I didn't realize it before, or maybe I did realize it, but I never really paid attention to it. But I do feel like there is a large gap in how black women perceive politics versus black men and how they look at politics. Black men look at politics in the way of what we've been seeing with the money and the power and all that other stuff. Black women just want what's best for them and making sure that they're not being, left out in the cold, and you're not trying to take away their rights, their reproductive rights, but they're trying to slip that Amy woman up in there. And, abortion could be a that y'all really think abortion becoming legal is been around for, no, it's it's under 50 years. It didn't happen. It's 73, 74. So Roe v. Wade is still, a relatively young thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
definitely.
his dancing is atrocious. But to me, it's like when I look at Donald Trump when he dances, he just reminds me of all those other white men with no rhythm. Like they all kind of have that same, tipping the teapot type move, like no rhythm whatsoever. But yeah, I don't know. It's just I'm over it. I'm over these men. I'm sick and tired of these, and them. I just feel like, look. Wait until after November 3rd before y'all all of a sudden want to start creating new parties and this, that, and the other. Like
you got Diddy, you got Kanye. It's not going to stop. It's going to continue to go. But what I do like is that right after he said all that, they got played. Shout out to Vulture for this one here. They literally got played by the one and only Eric Trump, who decides to put their hats that was tweeted out a while ago. And
I call Claw from the Goonies. Since that's what we look like.
Exactly.
But yeah, but yeah, are they surprised? Yeah. But it's like, he literally took two of their hats and photoshopped Donald Trump's name or Trump's name on their thing just so that way. And then of course this is the funny part, because they're so caught up in their bubble. They're like, you know what? 9 times out of 10, a Trump supporter don't even listen to Ice Cube or 50 Cent's music. So we can post whatever we want on social media, which they always talk about as the devil. Don't believe what you see on social media, but they want you to believe everything they put out. So with them doctoring the hats, we're showing you the fact that they doctored it, and they think like that their fans will believe this. But anybody outside of the Trump bubble will show you the truth. And it's like, oh, so y'all just still gonna believe this? And now Ice Cube is surprised at what the Trump family is doing to him, because Trump's advisor is the one who posted on social media about him working with the Trump administration.
Now he trying to respond and clap back now. Child, too late.
But then you're referring to Eric as the N-word. I'm like, huh? I just feel like, look.
Come on, what are we doing here? What are we doing here?
If you're gonna get into politics, know what you're talking about. Like, at least understand politics. A lot of these men who are jumping into politics don't even know about politics, haven't really been invested in politics. If I watched the Roland Martin interview, Ice Cube just recently started getting into and understanding. So he wasn't really Mr. Political. He wasn't this big political, activist or somebody who's really understanding what is going on in politics. The funny thing was, I've always kind of been into politics, but I really started getting more and more into it during this administration. I started diving deeper and deeper and deeper into politics, so understanding politics. I've always been in it, but I guess because the country wasn't as bad as it was, but I started getting more politically involved in it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sailor Mermaid says, well, I understand ICE wants to negotiate, but this is why it's important we stop making Black entertainers as the voice of Black issues, especially if they're not versed in politics. That I agree with. And I think it's unfortunate because we don't pay attention to, we are paying attention to people like AOC because in a way she has figured out a way to make politics interesting based on her delivery and how she comes across with it. So she's like a superstar within the Democratic Party, even though she's not necessarily, she is a part of the Democratic Party, but she's more of a progressive. Shout out to my progressive, political people, because I feel like y'all are the future, not these people that still want to stick with, the same old middle ground Democratic politics. Right. Like it is, the Democratic Party is evolving, but yes, I agree. Like I understand when there are people who are entertainers that know of what they speak in politics and are speaking out actively about politics, but it would be nice if the people that are actually in the trenches every day were getting the same amount of energy and attention that y'all will give some celebrity. So we need to stop making celebrities our political voices. So I do agree with that.
Yeah, I agree too. I think Certain ones, I'll say that to an extent, because some of them,
there are some highly intelligent celebrities who speak about politics.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, what were you saying?
No, you're right. You're not exactly what I said. That's exactly what I meant. Like, there are the ones that know what they're talking about. Then there are ones that, like Ice Cube and 50 and Diddy and the rest of them, that just like this talk shit.
And speaking of Diddy, Aubrey O'Day has a lot to say about Diddy. So she's throwing shade at Diddy because, you know, he did an interview, I believe, with Charlemagne for Revolt, and he's all of a sudden now, because remember, wasn't it that long? It wasn't that long ago. What was it, like 6 weeks ago, maybe longer, that he was talking about holding the vote hostage? And I'm like, this is not the time nor the place to be holding anything hostage, knowing damn well what that orange heifer has been doing to our democracy. So with now all of a sudden, because we're 2 weeks away from voting in, or less than 2 weeks away of voting, you know, of our being, you know, whatever the outcome is, it's going to be a big change. But then he was talking about hold the vote hostage. Now all of a sudden he's come to a whole nother thing about, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. No, you shouldn't have, because I said you shouldn't have said it when you said it. So now he's coming out with a new political party called Our Black Party to positively impact Black Americans in the future. Well, if you're going to do that, can you wait till after November 2nd or November 3rd to do that? Like, once we get a new president in, fingers crossed, because I cannot do another 4 years with this clown. But once we get Biden in and whatever the case, can we, then you can create this party, then you can go meet with these political people and try to get a change for our community. Then you could do all of that with the Black community, and all these other people can come in and hold the politicians' feet to the fire to make the changes that need to be changed, for the better of the country. So, and then you can make your demands, is what I'm trying to say. So Aubrey O'Day is talking about she's not buying it. She says Diddy has mismanaged artists and stolen their money his whole career, including Danity Kane. And now he is showing up with 18 days left before the election to get Trump out of office. When I was on Apprentice, Trump used to tell me daily how him and Puff are good friends. Well, of course she'd believe that because you were screwing Don Jr. That's what I was saying too, because as much as I'm all for Diddy and all the different changes and all the things he said, on the strength of so many people he's burned in this industry and kind of left on the edge of the turnpike, and stolen from, and this, that, and the other. I don't trust Diddy as far as I can throw him. So, but then again, Aubrey is not much to kind of sniff at because she, dated Don Jr. and I believe he was married at the time or something or another. So, she is aligned with the Trump ways, but I'm living for the shade though, and she isn't the only person pointing the finger back at him. The below tweet says it all, and it shows a video, or not even a video, a tweet from TCAT MPS, and it says this you, and it shows Diddy, back when he was a lot skinny. Well, it was, I was gonna say, in one picture is back when he was a lot skinny, but there's many photo ops that Diddy has taken with Donald Trump, and this is back when Melania had her old face. And then there's one picture where he's taken with Melania, Donald, and Brett Ratner, and there's another Hollywood person there. So yeah, it was some of the skeeziest of Hollywood people. And Brett Ratner, y'all, I've heard stories. There's stories about him too that I kind of just he's another gross one. But yeah, I'm like, he's aligned himself with Donald Trump in more ways than one. There's pictures of him in photo ops with him. And I guess this was all before, the white supremacist, racist stuff. And that's kind of like, I think Charlemagne may have said this, but I guess this is, or someone I heard, it might have been Charlemagne. But a lot of times when you have Black men with money, They don't care if you're a racist. They don't care because it's all about business at the end of the day. They're gonna have to do business with people that they don't necessarily agree with, that they don't necessarily like. But as long as you're not nasty to them, as long as you're not negative to them, as long as you're not racist to them, they won't say a word. But as long as that check clears and business is done or whatever, that's all they care about. So I say all that to say that now that it is down to the wire and it's gotten ugly and it's at a point where it can no longer be ignored, now all of a sudden, people like Diddy are waking up. I'm not buying it either. And I need to know a lot more about this whole black party thing that he's talking about before I even agree to anything.
Well, apparently the Black Party is gaining back our political power. All of this is about political power, and which we talk a lot about on my show, Host Chat Live. But all the shows are political power. All these moves of black men coming in, this is what they're talking about because this is what they see white men doing. So this is what our reverse, Stockholm capitalistic greed, as I call it. And is it going to work? I think not. Just like Kanye, they're going to fall through the cracks, and whoever buys it, buys it. But I think this is all to distract us from doing our civil right, which is voting. So.
Yeah, we need no more
14 days away.
No more distraction. Get out and vote.
Right. Absolutely.
Absolutely. 14 more days?
13. Getting closer and closer.
And like Sailor Mermaid said, pay your damn artists. That's probably why nobody's no Bad Boy. Is Bad Boy still around? Like, who's on that roster anymore? I don't know anybody dropping music. But anyway, okay, so
I don't even know.
Moving right along,
but I do know that I remember you saying that. No, just I just want to add something to Diddy as well. Regarding with Diddy, but so no, because I grew up with Diddy. Obviously everyone, most people grew up in the 90s are familiar with Diddy and what he's done, and I out of all the people, I would say I believe that he's maybe the harmless one out of them all, even though I do think he obviously has done things as many people has done to get by and able to, make means, if you will. He has done the same things that most labels have done to other artists. But with this situation, I just think that his heart is in the right place. The timing is off. Off. Compared to Kanye, me and DJ, my partner who I do the host chat with, like we talk about this all the time. Like you got to put them in categories. Like Kanye is really trying to get people to write in his name. He's taking pictures of himself on the ballot. That is illegal. That is a federal offense. You're not supposed to do that. Do not copy him. So he's doing everything that these GOP operatives and consultants that he's working with, quiet as kept, is forcing him to do that to continue to distract him from voting. And then you have Ice Cube who is just taking any bullshit from anyone, which is why they played them like a fiddle. And then you got 50 Cent who's just seeing 62% taxes because he's just went bankrupt, but now you're wealthy. Okay, I don't know what that's about. You're fucking with the government. So, and then 62% is nothing compared to back in the 70s when y'all were paying 95% of marginal tax rate. So it's like, what's the tea here? Like you're lucky the Reaganomics have lasted. So it's like some people are just ignorant, and just some people actually want to. That's why I get with Diddy. I think Diddy actually wants to help. He has charter schools. He's put his money where his mouth is. Basically, what I'm saying. And even with the Black Party, if you read deeper into the articles, he says like he wants to. It's his money. It's his thing. He's putting his money, and he's teaming up with elected officials and so forth and grassroots. I don't know who these people are, and that's where I'm like, well, Diddy, you got to show me. Who are these people? I want to see a meeting. Are there gays there? Are there people looking out for our interests as well? So that's still to be told. But unfortunately, the timing, which is why he's in this whole, with all of them. So that's all I'm saying. Like we got to look at this and kind of really see who's sinister ones and who's the one who actually want to just not know the right things to say. And that's where I put Diddy at. I think Diddy actually wants to help him, Jay, Bay, the rest of them, the people that want to help. They put their money where their mouth is. You can see by their acumen, what they do. Revolt, Diddy ran the vote. He started that. Like, this is not nothing new. Yeah. It's just, it came out at the time, and timing is everything. He's always
been politically active, even during, when did didn't Rock the Boat was a Aaliyah song. Rock the Boat, wasn't that during the Bush administration? If I'm not mistaken, I think that came around about during the Bush administration.
I think so.
So yeah, MTV was like a part of that and that whole situation. And I agree with I agree with everything that you had to say on that. Like, I do feel like, even though, he's done some shady shit, no worse than what Tommy Mottola or anybody else caliber has done to people. Yes, because I'm still fresh on the whole Mariah Carey memoir. Like, hearing all the stuff that man did to Mariah Carey, including one of the topics I'm going to bring up about J-Lo, because I got a story on her coming up where people had roasted her over something she said on a song. I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. So I think his heart is in the right place. However, this all needs to be brought forth after the election. Once we get a new president, hopefully, let's call it, in the White House, then y'all gonna start creating little parties and going to try to get meetings with Joe Biden and his people, and try to get things put forth that need to get put forth, instead of y'all all of a sudden want to do this stuff now, which is distracting from what needs to be done, which is we need to get this fat fuck out of the White House so that way we can save what's left of the United States of America. There's a lot, yes, we need to work on. Reparations and dealing with the racist police department and all this other stuff that's been going on, and our fucked up judicial system and how things are disproportionately throwing men of color in prison more so than the white person who commit the same damn crime and get less time. Like this, there's a lot of things that we need to work on, and we can do all of that once we get someone with some goddamn sense in the White House that is not out of control. So
yeah, I agree.
So that's all I got to say on that.
Definitely, I can, and shout out to Aubrey O'Day, who came through and said what she had to say.
Well, I heard, according to her, because I know you're owing the last picture, she says that wasn't her, because she showed a recent photo. Although she probably got the Kim Kardashian treatment, which is, the fat transfer. So even if that was her on, during quarantine, where she out here looking like Rebel Wilson in the third photo, and she got all that fat sucked out and put in her ass, or whatever the case is, kudos on her doctor, because. Yeah, but I'm definitely gonna look forward I'm hoping that you and I are in agreement with the whole J-Lo thing, because I'm a break that I'm gonna break that down, because basically Sailor Mermaid was saying they got into a whole debate on Facebook about it, and I was kind of this was a big topic to bring up. I didn't bring it up on my own page, but I was reading other people's comments, and I think I'm going to try to break it down and I'm going to break it down and just try to see it from so many different sides and kind of bring it in from an intellectual standpoint.
We have a comment from Sailor Moon said he is ready for this J-Lo, honey. So let's get right to J-Lo.
I was going to get to the Lauryn Hill story, but since the mic is hot on this one, let's get right to J-Lo, and it makes sense to go into that because Diddy and J-Lo and that whole situation. And I was talking about what was it, the Mariah Carey book, and talking about who she don't know, because that whole story of like so many stunts that Tommy Mottola was pulling to sabotage Glitter because he didn't want Mariah to be an actor, so he sabotaged the movie. In a lot of ways, the movie went through rewrites even during production. I forgot that Glitter was a Columbia Pictures movie, which, of course, she was on Columbia Records, which is part of Sony, and that whole connection. And how she wanted to be an edgier film because it was New York, I think, in the 80s. So, and she was like, she didn't want it to be this bubblegum movie that it turned out to be. And there was a lot of sabotage going through. And then how the Loverboy sample and all this stuff, and how he hooked up with Ja Rule to use them, and Irv Gotti with J Lo and helping her with her career, and the I'm Real song and all the other stuff that was, so it was all tied in. So he basically used J Lo as a pawn to sabotage his ex-wife. So there was just a whole, and I know, like, to me, I feel like it technically wasn't J Lo's fault, because she was just so happy to have a record deal and have a hit on the radio and be a success, and it's a notch. But I could understand where Mariah's coming from, because she's someone who, I had this idea for a sample, and I'm in the studio and I'm writing the songs and I'm working with the people and I'm bringing the producers together and I'm creating all this stuff. Oh, excuse me. And then here this man goes and tries to sabotage my whole situation and buys up the sample and uses it for someone else. But then she wound up using the sample in some sort of ways on the remix with the Brat. But that's not the whole topic. I'll probably get into more of that next week, because I'm currently still listening to it. But yeah, so people are upset for the fact that Jennifer Lopez did a song called Lonely with Maluma. And that song's been out for a while, but people all of a sudden are upset about it. So many Spanish people, from New York, quickly identify or assimilate themselves among their peers as Black people. Pop star J-Lo is facing a stream of backlash for her reference to herself as a Black girl from the Bronx on this song called Lonely. Well, that's basically what Tu Negrita de Bronx translates to. So it translates to, in English, I'll always be your Black girl from the Bronx. Now, what people don't know is Negrita is a term of endearment within the Latin community as like baby or sweetheart. But if you transfer Negrita into another term, it's basically Black, Negro, that sort of thing. And in certain communities, that word is used as a negative, especially when we're talking about colorism within the Latin community and how deeply racist a lot of Latinos are. I have family members that I will say that are deeply prejudiced against people of color. Mind you, you are a person of color, so I really don't understand that. But there's this whole colorism thing that exists within that. So it's a whole deeper thing that we need to unpack, and we could be here all night doing that. But in so many other circles, and I remember like I was speaking with other friends and they were like, oh, this is not a big, like, I don't understand what the big deal is, because it wasn't like she was saying like, I'm a Black girl. Yeah, it translates to that. But when you're talking about Latin slang and when you listen to reggaeton and you listen to the stuff like that, like there's always been people that I know that, oh, my negrita, instead they're like, these are words that you use as sort of like a term of endearment, or like baby or my boo and this, that, and the other. So it's depending on who it is used as a different term within certain communities. But anyone on the outside, when you say this, I think the reason why people are upset is because it probably takes them back to the I'm Real lyric where she says the N-word and people got upset when she used that phrase in a song. It's like, oh, well now you, so I don't know, because it kind of goes back and forth. Like 1 minute, you have people who get mad when Latin people don't consider themselves Black, but then when they do, you're upset. So it's like, where do I fit in? That's why I said like it depends on who you speak to. So it's like, yeah, while some people will use it as a term of endearment, there are some people say it's not. That there are people, I think it depends on who you speak with, which is weird because it's sort of like same thing with the N-word. While some people use that as a term of endearment, it's like I said, I got to be real careful with certain words and things that I say because we're live on Facebook. I mean, we're live on YouTube, and I know like certain buzzwords get you cut off. So there are people, depending on who you speak to, that will say this is a term of endearment. I don't like that word. There are some people who will refer to each other as the N-word, and then they say, oh, no, you're not going to say that to me. So I feel like this whole situation is it depends on, like, know your audience. It depends on your audience. It depends on who you approach with that word. Some people will not like being called that word. Some people will be like to be used. I mean, have that word used towards them. So, and I feel like this is probably, maybe this is a situation, you know, J-Lo just singing some lyrics that she didn't write and just saw it as no big deal, kind of like with I'm Real. She's singing lyrics and thought, oh, because I'm screwing Diddy and because I'm, you know, I'm surrounding myself with all these rappers that I got some sort of street cred. Whereas with Mariah Carey incorporating hip hop and rappers and all these other people into her music, which she kind of started that in so many ways, she was the real deal with that. And I do agree with that as well. Many claim blackness, certain words, certain phrases when it's convenient for them. But then when you want to assimilate into society, be it that if you're someone who is light skinned with green eyes or something or another, where you can pass and people kind of look at you, because there was like, it also reminds me of, there was something when, it's funny how this is all coming back to Mariah Carey. She was talking about her relationship with Luis Miguel, and Luis Miguel is this huge Latin pop star. And she was saying how there were differences in the relationship based on her race, because he would look at her and he didn't see her as someone who was part black. She never denied who she was as a black girl, but a lot of people were kind of throwing shade at her because when they would find out that she had a black father, she was treated a whole lot differently. But she always claimed her blackness. And how she would have these conversations with Luis Miguel, and how he would not, if you don't look black to me, I don't consider you that. So there's a whole lot of colorism, interracism, those things, so many of these things that need to be unpacked and we need to talk about, instead of being so quick to, I don't know. So maybe that's why a lot of people are fired up over this, because we know that the deep root of it is there's so much racism and colorism that exists within the Latin community, particularly towards how darker skinned Latinos are treated versus light skin. So there's a lot of that. So I don't know, EJ, if you want to come in and talk about this, or am I being left to talk about this in my own device? So I don't know. Sailor Mermaid, if you agree, I'm reading your comments, but yeah, it's like, I agree with what you're saying, but it's like I said, it's it just it's a case by case basis on this whole situation. So I guess, well, wait a minute. She's never, I think also because, you know what, also wasn't it like, she's always like, oh, I'm Puerto Rican, and it's any other, like, you've never claimed that you were black. You never claimed your blackness. So it's kind of like, why now? Like, you're 51 years old, rocking baby hairs, talking about, I'm a black girl. So I don't know. To be honest, I didn't even like the song. I just feel like, I don't know what it is with J-Lo. I don't know if she's having an identity crisis or she doesn't know what she wants to do musically or whatever, but I don't particularly care for the song. But anyway, let's move on and talk about Lauryn Hill's daughter. So we talked about the Fenty X fashion line. Savage X Fenty fashion show. We talked about that 2 weeks ago on Wednesday Night Kiki. Well, now Lauryn Hill's daughter, Cilla Marley, is making headlines, and have nothing to do with her spilling tea about her family. You know, last time we spoke, her mother, she was claiming that her mother was beating her ass like Harpo beat Sophia. Oh yeah, so we'll go back to that. And yeah, I remember that, and I was just thinking about that too. And I'm glad you brought that up so that I can refer to it. Amarla Negra, where she was basically talking about being Afro-Latina, and the huge situation that she was dealing with on Love and Hip Hop Miami. And I thought it was a great topic to bring up, but I just hated the fact that people kept trying to be dismissive about her feelings. Like, you drag this out like this to be a whole season talk. Well, bitch, it needs to be, because racism and colorism within the Latin community is definitely a topic that needs to be addressed and brought up 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 until you change your thought process and you stop looking at dark skin and being black as a negative, but you want to adapt certain criteria that come from dark skinned people and apply it to your daily life. So you can't just cherry pick what you want to pick from people who are of a darker hue and apply it to yourself when it's convenient. So yeah, now back to this. The 20-year-old is alleging that Rihanna stole her creative ideas from her 2019 project, A Primordial Place. In a lengthy caption, she was seemingly hesitant to express her disappointment in what she sees as an exact replication of her hard work. Quite a few friends brought this up to me, and I wasn't going to say anything about this, but I'm bothered. For those who remember, I did A Primordial Place in May 2019. I put my heart and soul and all the money I had into this project, and I don't know, is it just me? So as a young independent female Black artist, I genuinely feel robbed. I'm not signed to any label. I don't have any investors. I just have myself and the people who support me. It took a lot to pull this together and to see it replicated almost exactly with no mention of my name and work I previously put in is just ridiculous. There is some footage that I have seen of, I guess what she's referring to in regards of Primordial Place and Rihanna's Savage X Fenty is I think she's saying that there's a sequence in, if you see the video, it's on YouTube, of Primordial Place. It's a girl walking through like a nature exhibit and you're seeing some fashion clothes. Now that is very similar to what we saw in the Savage Fenty show. We saw a lot of like plants and trees and nature and all the other stuff that you saw. But I'm like, not saying that she probably didn't get inspired by it, but we've seen plenty of fashion and nature and flowers and things in different fashion shows and things of that nature. So maybe she was inspired, but I'm like, nature and fashion is nothing new. But then they also show like some incorporating some dance and stuff. So Rihanna probably did steal some of your ideas. Who knows? I don't know. It does look similar, but I'm like, the funny thing about fashion is it's all cyclical in ways. Like there's no other way I can say it. Like it's all cyclical. It all kind of blends, and we've seen it done time and time again. Yeah, I guess she's saying this particular picture, there was similarities to some of the stuff that she did in her own previous fashion show, which I could definitely see. Like you take, but it's not spotlight exactly that. She probably took from the plants and the nature and stuff, but she made it hers. That's kind of like what they do in art. It's sort of like you've seen something that's been done before and you incorporate it into what you're doing and you make it yours. So I don't know. I just think Sela might be reaching, or her friends have gotten to her and kind of gotten to her head and she felt she needed to speak, and maybe it'll get people. I say this is great marketing. This is a way for you to just take that situation and bring attention to some of your work that people weren't paying attention to. Okay, let's move right along. And let's talk about Jussie Smollett spotted in New York City shooting the film version of one of my favorite books growing up as a child. Well, a young man. Well, no, I was very young when this book came out. And it's called B-Boy Blues. So little brief break. Yes, Jussie is still around. I'm going to break that down in a second, I guess, for those of you who haven't heard. But Jussie Smollett is in New York right now shooting B-Boy Blues. He is directing. This is his first cinematic directorial debut. He has directed before. He's directed some music videos and he's directed episodes of Empire. But yes, he is back and he is directing. I know people thought his career was over and this and the other. Maybe as an actor, he could take a back seat. But I feel like if Jussie sticks behind the scenes and does some directing and stuff, his career could definitely, withstand everything that's going on. And you want to know something? No shade, but I'll say this. There have been people who have gotten away with far worse in regards to crimes on Black people in Chicago. So if Jussie didn't make the story up and he gets away with it, who gives a damn? I don't care. Like I said, white people have gotten away with so much shit in regards of Black people and killing them and this, that, and the third, especially with the police in Chicago. And y'all mad over somebody allegedly lying about being attacked and called an N-word and having a noose around his neck. If this is all turns out to be true and this, that, and the other, it is what it is. But yeah, I'm not that upset about it. But I'm going to bring EJ in because we are definitely going to talk about this movie and what's happening with it and all that good stuff. So basically, there was a picture where he's like super focused, as you can see. He's been hands-on with the cast. And from what I hear, it stars Ledisi, the singer, Brandon Evans, and Broderick Hunter. These are, of course, actors I've never heard of. And I kind of figured that because before, when this story first broke, we had no idea who was going to be playing Mitchell and, oh my God, was that Raheem and Mitchell? Almost forgot their names, child. And we had no idea who was going to be playing them. So you and I decided we're going to conjure up a list of actors who we think would be good to play those roles. Now, people don't know what the film is actually going to be about, or the book, and this is that it centers on the complicated relationship between two Black men, one a journalist and the other a bike messenger. The book was believed to be one of the first to explore same-sex love stories within the hip-hop community, and that's why this book definitely resonated with me, because this was the first time that yes. Wait, is that that's the cover?
Yeah, this is the original.
Because I have the original cover, the one that's the drawing with the guy who's shirtless and all this, like the picture. Like I got that book.
Yeah, this is one of the first ones.
Wait a minute, you know who Broderick Hunter? Wait, hold on now. Sir La Mermaid knows who Broderick Hunter is. Who is that? I've never heard of him.
Wait, what?
Wait, child. Now we need to Google and find out who he is. She said, "Oh, he's so fine." Wait, hold on now. Now I need to do a little Googling, schmoogling. Who is Broderick Hunter? Because I'm like, I've never heard of him. Oh yeah, he is.
Is he the lead?
He's dark skinned, gorgeous. He was born on January 3rd, 1991. He's 29. I believe he's probably playing Raheem, if I'm guessing correct, because he's dark skinned, tall, muscular. He could definitely play a B-boy. Ooh, them lips, child. Okay, so yeah, we need to put a picture of him up on the he's Nigerian, and he's a Nigerian American model. Okay, now we giving models. Well, I hope people aren't going to be, negative in regards of like a same sex movie. So yeah, he's in there, and I'm guessing Brandon Evans is playing Mitchell, but but I have my list. I don't know if you want to go first. I want to go first. These are like wishful thinking of like from when the movie was supposed to come out ages ago. Okay, so who you chose?
Well, the first person I chose, now these people that I'm choosing, a couple of them are from the same film. I only have 3, but yeah. So First person you can go after is this guy right here, the one and only Trevante. He is someone I would love to see in this.
Oh my God, from Moonlight.
He's from Moonlight. Yes, he's from Moonlight. Love to see him in it. And yeah, so that's someone that I fell in love with his acting. You know, in Moonlight, and you know, he's definitely someone good to look. And yeah, so that's something that I thought. I mean, you know, this is all on a wish. Things are quiet as kept, even though we're getting a little tea here and there. What do you think? What do you think of Trevante, real quick?
I don't know why I didn't think of him. But yes. I was like, wait a minute, I could totally. First, when I said, I know you ain't put Kevin Hart up here, but then, but I was like, yeah, I could see. I could definitely see Trevante Rhodes playing Raheem. I didn't. One of the things that kind of upset me about Moonlight was that his character wasn't utilized. Like, I really wanted to see more in-depth same-sex stuff happen with his character in that film, not just it be the little scene in the middle part of the film when they were teenagers and he had that little tryst with the same guy. So I would have liked to have seen more of that story explored when he was older. So yeah, I could definitely see Trevante Rhodes playing Raheem. Well, there's a lot of people on here that I chose that I was like, okay, first of all, they're too old. So I did say, like, I'm gonna just get those out of the way. I thought, well, back in the day, if they were making it, Tyrese would have been perfect to play Raheem. Also, Mekhi Phifer, but Mekhi Phifer is fat and he's like pushing 50, so he can't play that. He can't play that character anymore. I also thought Lance Gross. And this is for DJ Darren DeWitt Henson. But okay, so there's two from that's recent actors that I thought would be a good choice, and I'll give you a moment to get those pitches. But I thought Michael B. Jordan and Kofi Siriboe, who's done a lot of Ava DuVernay stuff. I think it was oh my God, what's the Queen Sugar? I think he was on. Actually, child, I'm gonna tell you. I could tell you. I'm gonna tell you a story. I met Kofi Siriboe in person when I worked the Urban World Film Festival a couple of years ago. And let me tell you, when he walked in that room, like just down the red carpet into like doing a promotion for Queen Sugar, the amount of attention, like the women gasping over him, like just his energy and his swag, like he will literally get anybody's panties to drop, male or female. Like there's just this sex appeal that he exudes when he walks into a room. I just remember that like it was yesterday. So I was like, Kofi Siriboe, I think would be a good choice. And Michael B. Jordan, I could probably see that. But, you know, I don't think he would do something like that. But as far as Mitchell, who did you pick? Hello? Ooh, what happened? It's like, what happened? I hear something. Okay, so we were thinking of. Oh, hello, is this thing on? Oh. Hello. Oh, what happened? Some technical difficulties?
Yeah.
Well, hello, we're back. I don't know what happened, but we here. I don't
Hmm.
know. Did we get on my I think I did get on my Raheem
Yeah,
choices out,
yeah,
right? So
yeah.
I know we got Mitchell, no Lance. Um okay, so wait, is that a no Lance as a no not a good choice, or is he a good choice? Um Now Mitchell, because this is a big part of the book, has to be a singer because he has a good voice. So I'm sure it's a requirement in the film that he's gonna have to sing. I don't think in the movie it's gonna be like Saturday Church, which is on Netflix, by the way. If y'all have not seen that, definitely check it out. India Moore and MJ Rodriguez from Pose is in that movie. Um, but who else? Oh, so I don't think it's gonna be a musical of sorts. So I know like there's gonna be parts where there'll be scenes where because Raheem loves a little bit but sing to him. So who would you choose to be Mitchell? I don't know if you want to go first or should I?
I would choose King, and only because I really like his music. I was thinking Keenan Lonsdale. Um, that's
Hmm.
my choice.
I agree. I could definitely see Keenan Lonsdale doing it. Who would the sex? Oh, the sex appeal was Kofi Sarabo. That's what I was talking about. That I when I met him at Urban World Film Festival. It's sort of like when I'll repeat it
Hmm.
because I know we were having technical difficulties. So it was like when he walked. It was like I worked at Urban World Film Festival about 3-4 years ago, and he walked into the room, and this was around the time when he was promoting Queen Sugar. He and Ava DuVernay walked in the room, and basically it was a whole red carpet. He was taking pictures and the other, but it was like when he came up in there and went in and they did they watched the episode and did a Q&A, and it was just like the women gasping, and it was just like literally just his overall energy. I don't remember when he was exiting and it was him and the security was taking him to the elevator and all this other stuff, and just the reaction of him in the room, literally anybody's drawers could have came off at that moment, male or female. So Kofi Sarabo definitely has that sex appeal. It'd be nice if they utilized him more in things, but I haven't really seen anything. But yeah,
Hmm.
I could totally see if they cleaned them up a bit. Like I could definitely, even though they already got their cast, but this is us just wishful thinking. I could definitely see Keenan Lonsdale playing Mitchell. Um, I had a couple of names. I mean, I thought Ryan Jamal Swain, but he's busy shooting Pose, so that's not happening unless you could do two
Right.
shows at once. But I had a couple of names because I had to go to my Broadway choices, which may take a minute. So um, I thought Corbin Blue from High School Musical. He has been doing Broadway as of late. He's been doing a lot of theater stuff. So I was like, oh, maybe I could see him. Um, there's an actor by the name of Kelvin Harrison who played Fred Hampton in the Chicago 7 movie. Um, there's John Clay III who plays AJ in Choir Boy, Caleb Eberhardt who plays David Hurd in Choir Boy, and then last but certainly not least, who I think will probably be the best choice of all, and this name has been on the tip of our tongues for a while, Jeremy Pope. I think he would probably been a good choice, but he's being pulled in so many things right now. Ryan Murphy definitely loves him some Jeremy Pope. So he was in the what is it? What was it called? Oh yeah, it was called Hollywood, right? He was in the Hollywood
Hmm.
series. He's openly gay. Like he could definitely play. Probably been a good choice. But I actually like the idea that when you watch something like B-Boy Blues, or you want to put something like that together, that they're going with a list of unknowns. So I actually like that idea of them going with unknowns to do this whole thing. So yeah, I'm excited. I love the book. I remember when I was young, and one of my best friends from school, he was like into reading a lot of novels. He would read a lot of Terry McMillan, a lot of Elin Harris. he was reading a lot of those books. And one of the things that really got me excited was the fact that this is the first time that I think I came across a book like B-Boy Blues, because it was like at the time, you know, when you're young and in the 90s and you're growing up and you don't know anything about anything LGBT based, or even seeing people that reflect your community. When you're growing up in New York City in the 90s and the 80s and the 2000s, and you're young and you're going through your trials and tribulations and puberty and trying to figure out stuff, you want like a source of something that you can relate to. And when this book came along, I'm like, oh my God. So there are people that I see that I grew up with in my neighborhood that are, in a term that I actually learned from the book, same gender loving. And that so two Black men can have sex or be in a relationship and it's not an issue with them and they're trying to figure things out. Or you could be in a relationship with a young bike messenger who's 21 and has a kid with another girl. And there's so many of these things that you see in your lifetime that oh my God, this world exists. So it was just interesting to see like a book reflect the world that I was growing up in. Even though I'm someone who comes from a 2-family household, just the world that I grew up in. Yeah, that's exact book cover that I have. It's up in my parents' house somewhere in their attic with all my belongings and stuff. Because you know, when you're living on your own, you basically, it's like, I don't want to pay for storage. I'll leave my stuff up at your place. So yeah, it's interesting. Like I'm just really excited for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that
Me too.
Jussie is going to do it justice.
Yep, I can't wait.
And another thing, before we move on to the next topic, I'm hoping that this movie will open doors for more films like this and TV projects to get made. And down the line, fingers crossed, I have some ideas and some scripts that I'm working on, and I want to usher those things in. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this opens a door for you know, more of these projects to get on the big and small screen. So I'm really excited about that. So congratulations, Jussie. You make that coin, honey. So Niecy Nash basically has a lot to say, excuse me, about her recent marriage to Jessica Betts. And she has a lot to say towards her fans who actually have a problem with her being in a same-sex relationship. She says, if I lost a fan because of who I love, then that wasn't a real fan. How I love has nothing to do with my art. I'm still a skilled Emmy-nominated award-winning actress. I didn't stop being great at my craft because of where I lay my head. All I know is I'm happy and my projects are lit. Can't wait for those who never stop writing to see. Matter of fact, haters can stay tuned as well. #happily married. And I actually agree with her on that. It's sort of like, what does me sleeping with someone of the same gender have anything to do with how I come to work and do the job that I'm paid to do? If I'm an actor, I'm paid to portray a character. Who I sleep with has nothing to do with whether or not I can do the job that I have trained so many years to do. Like, I went to acting school, or some people don't actually go to acting class. Some people just naturally can get up there and portray different characters. And shout out to y'all, those who could do that. You know, you don't have to go to a school to become Meryl Streep. Like, some people just naturally can do that. But so kudos to Niecy for living in her truth and loving who she loves. And I feel like it's kind of ignorant. And I know people in the industry tend to do it as well, but it's relatively ignorant that people think that, oh, because of who I sleep with, that I can't convincingly play a heterosexual, or I can't convincingly play whatever character you want me to play. It's like, I'm an actor. My job is to portray a part. So for you, because you can't get your mind past who I sleep with in my personal life, that's not a me issue. That's a you issue. That's a problem that an ignorant casting director or whatever has. So kudos to her on that. And one of the last topics I want to get to before I get to my review of Dragula, I want to talk about Detox and RuPaul's Drag Race, who has been dragged over social media for partying at a gay bar during Atlanta Pride. So RuPaul's Drag Race alum, I'll just give EJ a moment to get a picture that we could put up there of her. RuPaul's Drag Race alum Detox is defending her decision to work at a circuit party held over Atlanta Pride weekend. And yeah, I saw there was people were partying like crazy and the COVID numbers went up. Not surprisingly. So after receiving criticism for booking a gig at a gay bar called The District, Detox took to Twitter on Saturday to say she was sick and tired of having to defend herself for simply accepting work. Here's what she said. She says, "I'm sick of feeling the need to defend myself because of the actions of others. I have been unemployed for 7 months, as many of us have, and have a lot of bills and have had zero government assistance. I would rather not be putting myself at risk in order to survive. But unfortunately, that's where I'm at. All I can do personally in these circumstances is to make sure I'm doing everything within my own power to act responsibly, mask up, wash my hands, disinfect, and monitor my own health and body. Would I rather be in a bubble in my own home? Absolutely, especially with my asthma, of course. I do not have that luxury. What I do have is awareness and mindfulness of my own actions and behavior. How about that?" She also followed up with more tweets claiming that only a limited number of people would be allowed inside the venue and distancing would be enforced on the dance floor. She also said masks were being encouraged, but if you feel the need to take your mask off, that's on you. So it says, all that being said, to those attending tonight's event at District ATL, the event is at limited capacity. There are sectioned off areas to allow for distancing on the dance floor. Please utilize them when all those areas with your parties, when at those areas with your parties. If you feel the need to take your mask off, that's on you. However, while roaming the bar, ordering drinks, using the restrooms, or tipping your entertainers / asking us for pics, please be considerate and kindly put that mask on for just a moment. It's greatly appreciated. If approached too quickly without a mask, I may spray you in the mouth with hand sanitizer. And I thank you. Have fun, y'all. So my thought, there was a bunch of people who had things to say about it, but here's what I got to say about it. You want to know something? I think the deeper issue is not necessarily Detox taking a gig, because you want to know something, at the end of the day, it is really hard for performers to make money because bars are closed, clubs are closed, and and even though there are certain bars opening, you can only have a small amount of people in there. They decided to set up tables. Like we have Industry in a couple of places that have finally, and Gym Bar finally opened up like a week or two ago, and they've had to restructure the way that they do a lot of their bars and clubs. So they have tables set up. You have to sit at a table. If you have more than 4 people, you have to make a reservation. The bartenders pretty much have to come to you and take your order, and they bring you the drinks. I remember when I went to Boxers in Hell's Kitchen, and it has a rooftop and everything. Like you sit at your table, they bring you a menu. The waiter basically comes to you and asks, "What would you like to drink? What do you want to eat?" They bring you everything. You know, you have all this stuff that they do for you now. So the situation of how bars and clubs are being run has changed. And unfortunately, you know what? While you could easily be like, well, you know, Detox, you're a fool for doing what you have to do. At the end of the day, these artists have to make their money. And it's unfortunate that, guess what? Bartenders, drag performers, they don't have insurance. They should have insurance for the blood, sweat, and tears, the amount of health risks that they put themselves at when they're in these places. Even before COVID, there should have been some sort of protection for people who are in the arts that work for tips in the bar industry or the club industry. So this is a bigger conversation that I feel like needs to be had, and not necessarily, you know, the fact that Detox took a gig, because guess what? She has a house that she bought. She lives across the street from her sister in Chicago. She's talked about this numerous times. Like she left LA. She now lives in Chicago. And she's putting down roots back in where she's from, and she bought a whole house, and bills got to get paid. Like my roommate is a party promoter and hasn't worked in a while because of COVID. So people are struggling. Like people are really having a hard time trying to make ends meet and doing what they need to do to keep the money rolling in. And they're living off unemployment. And Lord knows how long that's going to last, especially when there's nothing but uncertainty surrounding us in regards to this fool that we have for a president. So I'm glad that Detox is speaking out on it. And guess what? Not a lot of people have the luxury to stay home in quarantine. And a lot of us who work in the restaurant business and public service and do all these other things, we have to put our lives on the line every day so we can make ends meet and pay our bills. It's unfortunate, but yes, we all have to do it. So I understand what Detox is dealing with and what she's going through. Now, for those of y'all out there who are going to clubs and partying and not wearing a mask and this, that, and the other, that's on you. You want to put your health at risk, it is what it is. But so I'm with you on that, Detox. And like I said, there needs to be something that needs to be done in regards of the public restaurant and food industry taking better care of their employees, drag queens, bartenders, barbacks, waiters, all those people that work in the service industry, they need to be better taken care of by these restaurants and clubs. So last but certainly not least, we're going to get to our final topic, which I want to talk about, and it premiered yesterday on Shudder. Dragula Resurrection. I don't know if you guys have checked it out, but definitely check out. It's a 2-hour and 5-minute episode. Where they basically brought back 7 previous cast members from the 3 seasons. One queen in the that's on the show. She transitioned. Loris, I had no idea was dating Honey Davenport. It was great to see Kendra Onyx on there. She and I are social media friends. So it was great to see Kendra on the show, and basically how it's amazing how her body healed, especially when she had the accident at the club where she was, she breathes fire during her act. And during one of the performances, she actually caught a fire and people were kind of just staring at her. So she says it in the video that the one thing that saved her, them actually saved her, because she said she didn't realize she was on fire until her eyelashes burst into flames. And then people were just like, she was trying to put herself out, and the only person that came to her defense was her assistant and a guy in the audience who actually threw his beer in her face, and that kind of put the flame out. So reliving that, and also the conversation about trans representation in drag and that sort of thing. And that conversation was so spot on, and it made me understand a lot more why it's so important to include trans art performers in the drag community. Yeah, they're not drag queens. Yeah, they don't consider themselves drag because the old term is a man who dresses up as a woman for professional reasons, or whatever the case is. And trans women do not consider themselves to be men. They consider themselves, trans women are women. So seeing that whole situation and having that conversation, it definitely drives forth the whole idea that Drag Race, in my opinion, needs to change their approach in artistry in drag. So it'd be nice if they would change it up from the typical tried and true format, which Bailey and Barbado have stated that they are going to do in future installments, but we'll just wait and see. But what I love about Dragula is the fact that they provide a different alternative to the drag world. And what I love about the show is because it's not so glossy and how and slickly produced like Drag Race is. It gives it a slight edge because it's not an expensive production. They have a small crew of people who really, you could definitely see them put their blood, sweat, and tears in this show. What I would love to see them do more of on Dragula when season 4 happens, and congratulations to the winner who was resurrected. So the winner of Dragula, I should point out, wins $20,000 and gets a chance to compete in season 4. So these are people that competed on the past 3 seasons that were exterminated, meaning killed off. So every episode, if you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix. They compete in challenges and they do an elimination round, and the person who gets eliminated is actually exterminated, meaning they're murdered in every episode, which is hilarious. But they were brought back and a chance to compete in the next season. So the winner is going to be in season 1. I don't want to spoil anything in case you haven't watched the episode yet because it just came out yesterday. If you don't have Shudder or don't want to pay for Shudder, the great thing about Shudder is you can just go on there. They have a 7-day free trial. You can watch the episode and then cancel right afterwards. But I'm a horror movie fan, so that's why I'm a subscriber to the website. So yeah, it's a great show. I like it. The only thing I would love to see them do in season 4 is give more attention, because these are some amazing queens. They're so talented, and they really, like, in every challenge, you're seeing these girls are really creating what they're wearing. I would like to see them show more of these queens creating the garments and conceptualizing the ideas and bringing it to life. We got a little bit of that in the show, but I mean in Resurrection, but I want to see more of that play out as it, as when we get season 4. I don't even know what season 4 is going to be at. Hopefully Shudder, if it's successful over there, that it will become a staple over at Shudder, and we'll see how that goes. I don't know what the deal is with Netflix and that sort of thing, because it is playing on Netflix. I remember at one point it was on Amazon Prime, and then it went over to Netflix, and it jumps around to so many different streaming services. But if it gets a permanent home at Shudder, which I think is a perfect place to put it, and I'm seeing that they're getting more LGBTQ content, more queer content over at Shudder, especially with the horror movie they have over there with Jeffrey Boyer-Chapman, which I thought was pretty good too. If you're going to have more queer content put on there, which I think they should, I would love to see Dragula become a part of the Shudder family, and season 4 gets to stream. I don't know if they do full seasons or if they're just going to do a weekly. So it'll be interesting to see that. So yes, without further ado, let's just say definitely check out that episode when you get a chance. So with that being said, I want to thank you all for watching. Everybody who tuned in, tweet me your thoughts. This video is definitely going to be up on YouTube for a while, so share it. Those who are going to come in lately, leave your comments. I'll definitely be checking back and reading it. This is going to be a weekly show. We're still working out some things before we start fleshing out an official season. So I want to say thank you all who are on all the streaming services right now, and via Restream, watching Wednesday Night Geeky. We'll be back next Wednesday with a brand new episode of Hot Topics and things of that nature. And yes, we have EJ who's back.
No.
Let me do my little rant and my review. So
yes. Follow us on our socials right there in the marquee. Host Chat Live, Chris Avalon, OFFI1, and we'll see you guys soon.
Bye. Later.